Yo, what is up, everybody, and welcome right on back to another week of the Rostock Racers Top 10 Flips and Wrecks of the Week. Thank you guys for tuning back in for week number 3. We're going to go ahead and get right into things.
We're going to start off with our honorable mentions from week 3 of our Top 10 Wrecks of the Week. My honorable mention for this week will go to Kyle Larson at Darlington. He gets pinched on the outside of 4 wide and shoots straight backwards, does some barrel rolls and flips while going through the air. Not a great angle for this one. We kind of missed the middle of the flip right after he bounces off the wall. It's good, but it'll come in at my honorable mention this week.
My honorable mention 94 gets stuck at Scorch. You can see here that him and another car trying to run each other off the track. And both kind of hit the hill there, but the 94 mainly goes up on the hill and gets stuck and ultimately has to either quit or maybe he can reverse himself off the cliff. He's my honorable mention for this week.
Coming in at my number 10 for this week. Again, you're probably asking why we're seeing the start of this race. A dirt track, very beginning. Backing up, reversing off the start with a ginormous brake check. Gets right up underneath the 77. And that 77 gets up in the air and barrel rolls immediately off the start of this race. Something you would never expect to see at a short dirt track. But it does occur in this one, so it'll be my number 10 for this week.
My number 10 for this week is not a good start at Weed Sport. You can see everybody, the clock is counting down there, and everybody just glitches, and it ultimately causes them to go into wreck, and then everybody, most of the people had to quit. But it was pretty weird, pretty chaotic. They're my number 10 for this week.
Coming in at my number 9 for this week, I will have the Monza Madness. We saw something at Monza you would never likely see as 3 cars go into a hard left and then a hard right-hander. 1 car goes over, that's a 77, and then you can see a second car go over, the 24, and a third car goes over, also another 24. Just a 3-car accident at a road course, something you would never expect to see. We may never see it again, but this one is pretty good for this week. It'll make my list at number 9.
My number 9 for this week is the 88 of Anniversary Junior at Daytona. You see the 33 clips of 78 here, and then they go 3 wide, coming out of 4, the 3 and the 5. Force the 88 into the wall, and he goes up and over, but then he lands back on all 4 wheels. Think if there's another tumble or 2, he's probably on my podium for this week. That's why the 88 is my number 9.
Coming in at my number 8 for this week, I have Tony Stewart on the back straightaway at Talladega. You see him, he tries to put a block on Hamlin here as he looks low, and then Hamlin goes back high, and Stewart tries to make a block a little extra. He gets up over top of Denny Hamlin, flies right over him, goes front over back, back over front, hits another car at the end of all the flipping down the back straightaway. Just a bad wreck. Ultimately, a bad decision to block there by Tony Stewart. Ends up bad, and it gets him on our list for top wrecks of the week at number 8.
My number 8 for this week is a 33 at Daytona. Same race as the 88 car, and you can see another 3 wide incident here, but on the back straightaway. The 33 goes rear over front. He goes over, slides a little bit, but then again the concrete forces him back on all 4 wheels. Same explanation with the 88. Another barrel roll or 2. He's probably on my podium. That's why the 33 is at number 8 this week.
At my number 7 for this week, I have our most recent wreck that we got just before filming this video at Avis. You can see it's the last lap. Logano looking for some chance to take the lead, and then, oh, there it is. The 8 gets up and flips off a bump in the final corner at Avis. Thought he was going to come away with an easy win, but Avis said no. Takes him for a wild ride where he flips multiple times, completely ends up throwing the race away, and Joey Logano able to come through and get a win. He likes the result of this crash, but all for the 8, it's just terrible. That's why Avis Amazement is my number 7 for this week.
My number 7 for this week is the 24 at Turger. And you see here the 324s. The one goes way down to the grass, comes up, hits another 24, and then the other 24, the third, hits the first 24, causes him to go up and over, and he's sliding on the grass. And I mean, that is a pretty weird wreck there. I mean, you couldn't see from the angle there if he got back onto his wheels, so that's why he's my number 7 for this week.
Coming in at my number 6 for this week, I have Buscher's blowover right after a wreck you saw from last week's video. This one got pushed into this week's because we would have had too many clips for last week. But you can see the end of the other wreck happening behind. Camera angle turns back around. Buscher tries to make a move. He can't make the move. A complete fail. Ends up getting turned. Goes back, over front, barrel rolling once he gets to the back, hops up in the air and bounces a couple times. A terrible wreck on the front straightaway at Talladega for Chris Buescher will end up at my number 6 for this week.
My number 6 for this week is the 43 lost his Cheerios at Texas. You see the 43 car in the Cheerios machine here. He goes underneath the 99, gets ahead of him, tries to put him in the wall, and boom, he goes barrel rolling over the 99 and lands back on all 4 wheels. Pretty good wreck here. He's my number 6 for this week.
Coming in at my number 5 for this week, I have William Byron causing the big one at Talladega. Everybody is just getting out of shape coming off of turn 4. And they can't really get it under control. You see them bouncing off of each other. And then right when you least expect it, Byron gets turned. He goes up, he goes over, he rolls multiple times, hooks to 74. We only catch a little glimpse of this wreck. We did miss some of it here. But those flips that we could see were just so violent, it'll make it come in at my number 5 for this week.
My number 5 for this week is 24/7 flips at Dega. You can see here the 7 hits the 24 of William Byron, and then he goes up into another car here, and then the 24 hooks the 7. The 7 goes over hits the 45, uses the 45 to barrel roll, and then the 24 gets winded and goes over himself too. The 7 at that point, they had both landed, and then the 43 gets involved and gets hit hard at the end of that wreck. That's why he's my number 5 for this week.
Coming in at my number 4 for this week, I have the novice car at Talladega. We can see it getting a little messy here, and then the car drops back behind. The camera angle goes completely forward, and all of a sudden the camera angle turns back around, and the 2 car just catches air and gets straight up into the air, slams back off the ground very quickly, and does some rolls after he hits the ground. Just a terrible, terrible wreck for the 2 car at Talladega, which provides us with so many good wrecks every week. This one will end up at my number 4 for this week.
My number 4 for this week, my partner had already mentioned it, the 8 eats concrete at Avis. I mean, there's really not much more to explain to what my partner had already explained about how he hits the concrete, goes over. Logano, again, happy with his results. The 8, not so much. He fell way down in the pack due to that wreck there. I mean, my partner already summarized it up for you, so that's why it's my number 4 for this week.
Now coming in at my number 3 for this week, I also have a wreck that my partner has already mentioned in this one. The 24/7 flips at Talladega. they get out of shape. They go down to the bottom here, and Haley slams off a car. 24 gets up, hooks him. He goes over the top, slams off the roof of the 24, bounces around. Then the 24 catches some air, and it's just a terrible, terrible wreck out of 2 at Dega. Another one for Dega, just producing the greatest wrecks week after week after week. This one will come in at my number 3.
My number 3 for this week, podium time. The 24 car goes over at FC Speedway. You see here Briscoe and Byron getting into it, coming into 3 and 4, and then they're 3 wide. The 19 hits the wall, which causes the 24 to go over. The 19, runs underneath the 24. The 24 barrels sliding on the track, and then finally, boom, he pops forward back on all 4 wheels. Hectic wreck here for podium this week. That's why he's my number 3.
Coming in at my number 2 for this week, I have William Byron at FC Speedway here. You can see this 24 car go driving deep into the corner. He goes on the bottom of the other 24 in the 81, and then he gets hooked by the 19, shoots up the inside wall, and goes rolling and rolling and rolling and sits on his lid at the end. And then you can see the 24 car, another 24 car in the background, almost get over off the bump entering the tunnel on the back straightaway. I think this 24 car crash here on the barrel rolls was a very bad wreck. 1 or 2 more barrel rolls could have definitely been my number 1 this week, but he is going to end up at my number 2.
Number 2 for this week for me is the Hooters car at Daytona. You can see here the 41 of Cole Custer and Mark Truex Jr. get underneath them. They hook him, he hits the wall, and then he flips onto his roof, and then he violently hits the concrete like Ryan Preece did in real life at Daytona in the grass. He does the same exact thing, goes pretty high in the air, and lands on his roof. I mean, this crash is an exact replica of what Ryan Preece did at Daytona a few years ago in the 41 machine. That's why he's my number 2 for this week.
Well, my partner just finished summing it up for you guys there, but I'm going to mention it again at my number 1 for this week, the 69 car on the back straightaway at Daytona. How on earth does he hit that wall that hard? Shoots him so high into the air onto the back straightaway, and it just blows over, gets air, barrel rolls like 30 feet up in the air down there on the inside. Just ridiculous. He's defying physics there on the back straightaway at Daytona. It's just crazy for this week. He will end up at my number 1. My partner did a great job summing that one up.
Well, partner, you already mentioned this one a little bit lower on your list, but it was the 3-car pileup at Monza. You can see 77 tried to cut the corner there at Monza. He got the curb, ultimately forced him to go up and over, and then you see 224 cars do the same thing. I mean, you summarized it up pretty well earlier, so my number 1 for this week.
So that's going to be it for this week, folks. As we've seen in the last week, nothing out of Rostock Racing yet. It is still up, living its best life right now. Update coming soon. Again, if it goes down, we'll do our best to get as many of these videos out for you as possible. Excited for the revamp to happen. Partner, what are your thoughts on this revamp coming to Rostock Racing?
My thoughts are pretty simple. I mean, I'm excited to see what these cars look like after the update. If you guys didn't know, the explanation for this update was for copyright reasons. If you can see over the net of the car, the names of the drivers, the real-life drivers, are actually copyright, so they have to change that. But, I mean, the good news about this update is you'll keep your money, but you will unfortunately lose all your schemes, so you will kind of have to buy those back eventually as they keep coming back. But looking forward to this update, partner.
With that, I want to give a big congratulations to our winners from this week. Driving that number 69 car at my number 1 was Naughty Nats. And then driving one of the 24 cars in the Monza flip was Tiger Alex 1764. And driving the other one was FNS 63HS. Also involved in our number 1 crash of the week was me piloting that number 77 car at Monza. Just a big crash there. Ends up at max number 1 for this week.
Thank you guys for tuning in again to our week 3 of Top 10 Wrecks of the Week. And we'll hopefully see you guys back next week for week number 4, where we'll have some even better flips for you.